Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. I am Janet Austin Jackson, coming to you right outside of Atlanta. And we're going to have a great time today. Our subject is Come Home to You, Never Give Up on Yourself. Never give up on yourself. That's so important. All right. But come home to you. We want to be able to connect with the most important person in the universe for ourselves. Right? It's being able to connect with ourselves. And want to pause before Monday comes up. So many people quietly give up on themselves right before a new week starts. Not in a dramatic way, in small ways, in tired ways, in discouraged ways. Tonight we'll be gently explore what it really means to stay with yourself, especially when you feel behind, uncertain, or unseen. And you'll leave feeling steadier, calmer in your body, and more committed to walking into this week without abandoning yourself. And this is for beginner friendly people who are meditating, and also for a reminder for seasoned meditators as well. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. So happy you're here. Again, like I had just mentioned, so many people are quietly giving up on themselves right before the new week starts. They start thinking about all the things that are happening. And so they get very frustrated. But they give up in small ways that, just decide, okay, let me just stay on social media. And so I won't have to think about how bad I feel, different things like that. So we want to befriend ourselves. And that's what this whole practice is about. And why I wanted to open it up on Sundays to come home to you, to live from inside out instead of letting everything on the outside live inside of us. And so this is really a absolute wonderful time to connect with one another. And if you would like to put your where you're tuning in from in the chat, because we're like-minded folks. It's wonderful. I'm like I said, I'm from well, I'm tuning in from right outside of Atlanta. So I'm so glad you're here tonight. And before the week begins, I want to talk about something very simple and very important too. And like I said, the name of it is Never Give Up on Yourself. Now, that might sound motivational, like something on a poster. But I'm not talking about pushing harder. I'm not talking about hustling. I'm talking about something much greater, uh, and absolutely quieter. I'm talking about the small moments where you slowly abandon yourself and you don't even realize that. You just turn away from yourself and you focus on whatever's outside, but not giving that same love and attention to yourself. And sometimes giving up does not look dramatic. It looks like you had an idea and you talk yourself out of it, right? You wanted to rest, but you scroll inside instead. No, and you made a mistake and you decide that mistake defines you. It doesn't define you. That's the mind telling you that. It's a conscious mind or the ego mind, which just say this, oh, you made a mistake and that's who you are. And sometimes when we don't really are not aware of it, it becomes our identity and thinking, oh, you're always making mistakes. You compare yourself and shrink, next to someone else mentally. It's like, oh, I'm not as good as this person or whatever. That's not the truth at all. That is not the truth. You giving up on yourself often feels like exhaustion. And I'm tired. And on Sunday nights can bring that up. We call it the Sunday night scaries. On Sundays, the mind starts reviewing the week. What did not happen? What did not work? What did not move forward? This type of thing. And the body feels heavy. And when we give up on ourselves, the body also tightens up. The shoulders go up toward our ears like that, and we're holding it up. Then we have the back pains and the chest collapse, slightly. And our energy, oh my God, is lowered because at the deepest level, your body knows when you're turning away from yourself. The body knows everything. When tuned into our body, it has because it's like memory cells. That's when you go to a dentist and they start working on your teeth, and then memories come up because in those teeth, in the cells, is memory cells. So the body is staying in the present moment. It knows everything. So we want to befriend our body and know how to connect with that part, that quiet part inside of us that's just waiting for us to give it love and attention and kindness. So staying with yourself is different. Staying with yourself says, I'm still here, even if I'm behind, even if I'm uncertain, even if I feel unseen, I'm not abandoning me. Isn't that important? I'm not abandoning me. And that changes the nervous system. When you stay with yourself, your body softens, your breath deepens, your spine lifts a little. You begin to feel possibility again. I want to share my story with you. When I became a publicist for CBS Television Network, back in the day, it was only four networks: CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox. And I was not prepared for what that really meant. On the outside, it looked like a glamorous job, but inside, I felt completely overwhelmed. I was suddenly responsible for communicating with actors and their representatives, dealing with the press, photographers, network executives, costumers, makeup people, all at the same time. Plus, I was only minority at all four networks in publicity. Not just only Black person, but the only minority. And I was the youngest in my department of mostly white males. So every personality needed something different. Every conversation required for me to have a different tone. Every day I felt like a balancing act. And I was not formally trained for it. Back then, they didn't have publicity classes. You were just dumped into the job and you had to figure it out. I had imposter syndrome, big time. I constantly thought they're going to find out I do not know what I'm doing. Writing was a huge part of the job, which is what I loved and why I got into publicity because I was waiting for a journalism job. Back then, journalism was just such an esteemed job. It was like being a doctor or some scientist or whatever. We had to write feature stories on the shows. We handled it, went out to 350 newspapers and magazines across the country and in other parts of the world as well. And publicity writing was completely different from journalism writing, which is what I got my degree in college. My CBS editor was strict. My copy that I wrote came back covered in corrections, something with red marks on it. Sometimes entire sections were tossed back to me, and I had to rewrite them. But you know what the problem was? I didn't even know how to rewrite them. There were no classes back then on how to write publicity releases, and no books you could pick up, no online tutorials. And I felt alone in figuring it out. I compared myself constantly to my experienced peers. They were older than me and they had years experience in publicity. They were confident, they seemed fast, they seemed capable. I felt like an imposter trying to keep up. Yep. There were many, many nights when my colleagues left at 5 or 6 o'clock, and I stayed alone in the office, rewriting stories again and again. The cleaning crew would be vacuuming around me at 10 or 11 o'clock at night while I sat at my desk. They knew my name and I knew their name. I was exhausted and ashamed, and because it was taking me so long. There were evenings when I drove home in tears and I felt just overwhelmed because I did a lot of traveling with the shows I worked on to different states. And I was always exhausted. I felt like I was heading toward a breaking point. My blood pressure shot up. I was always with high blood pressure. And there was an important part. I did not have mindfulness tools back then. I did what many of us do when feelings are uncomfortable. I pushed them down. I suppressed the anxiety. I suppressed the fear. I suppressed the shame. I had a lot of shame for myself because I couldn't get it. It was the mind was saying, get it, get it, get it. It was not rational. I didn't have the experience like these guys had or confidence, but the mind tells you all this stuff. And when you don't know it, it just becomes like your identity. You start believing that's who I am. And that's what I was feeling back then. I did not understand that emotions are energy. Emotions like emotion, E for energy and emotion, always moving. When we push energy down, your emotions down, it doesn't disappear, it gets stronger. It goes into your bones, it goes into your muscles, and that's why we feel tensed. One way I try to manage my anxiety was through emotional eating. When I went on the film sets, for me, the different studios I would go to, I was like an alcoholic walking into a bar. The stages were filled with food for the cast and crew. Caterers would line up 2 or 3 long tables covered with every kind of dessert and snack you can imagine. And I would tell myself I was just sampling the food, but really I was trying to numb the pressure I was feeling. I was trying to quiet the voice that said, "You're not enough. You are not enough." There are many moments when I wanted to give up, not always by quitting the job. So that's what sometimes we don't know we're giving up on ourselves, but we think it has to be a big act like quitting a job. But I was giving up on myself internally by believing the story that I was not capable, by shrinking inside, by coping in ways that hurt me. What changed later in my life was not the workload. I handled 10 shows at a time, but it wasn't workload. It was that I learned how to stay with myself. Eventually, I learned the mindfulness through the church I belonged to. I learned how to sit with anxiety instead of fighting it. And that's what we do when we have feelings that we're not happy about, sadness, anger, or frustration. We fight ourselves, or pretend we don't have these feelings. I learned how to breathe through the shame instead of numbing it. And I learned that feelings move when we allow them. And I stopped abandoning myself inside. It was the same thing and I had to ask myself, would I tell a friend these things, these negative things, if they came to me feeling that they were imposter? No, I would boost them up. I had to learn to start talking to myself like I would talk to a friend who was distressed or frustrated. If I had those mindfulness tools when I started, I would not have suffered so long. The pressure, you guys, was real. The expectations was real. Being in the television industry, it's fast-paced and highly competitive. People come from all over the world in Los Angeles to be there. But the real suffering came from fighting myself. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this with you, because because giving up on yourself often looks quiet. It looks like pushing your feelings down. It looks like coping instead of caring. It looks like believing the harsh voice in your head. So tonight, before this week begins, I want you to know something I did not know back then. You can stay with yourself even in overwhelm, even in comparison, even in growth. You don't have to abandon yourself to succeed. Giving up on yourself does not protect you, it only makes you smaller. But staying with yourself builds quiet strength. You build resilience, not loud confidence or steady confidence. So it's a resilience. You get better. A lot of people think that I don't want to have this challenge, but when we have these challenges and we go through them and come through and we become a better person, we become a stronger person. So as we move into the new week, I want to offer you something simple. You don't have to fix your whole life this week. You don't have to accomplish everything. You don't have to abandon yourself. But you do want to speak kindly to yourself and rest when you need to. Keep showing up for yourself in small ways. Never give up on yourself. It's not about pressure. It's about loyalty. Be loyal to yourself. And tonight we're going to sit together and gently anchor that in your body, because when your body feels safe with you, you stop giving up. So let's take a slow breath together and let's come home together in a simple little meditation together. And you can sit comfortably, allow your hands to rest gently in your lap, and close your eyes if that feels safe, or stay here with me, or soften your gaze. And take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. And gently exhale. When you exhale, let go into the exhale. Again, inhale slowly. Exhale fully. Let your shoulders drop. Just let them fall away from your neck. Notice the weight of your body in the chair. Feel the support beneath you. Now bring your attention to your chest. Notice it if it feels tight or open, heavy, or just neutral. No need to change it, just notice. Now bring awareness to your breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. Your breath is your anchor, your support system. And always come back to the breath when you feel overwhelmed. Just stop for a moment and just breathe in and breathe out. And let your breath go on automatic and just feel the breath as it moves in and out. Now gently bring to mind a moment recently when you felt discouraged. Not your most painful memory, just something small, something you did not work out for you. Maybe you felt behind. Maybe you doubted yourself. See it lightly. Now notice what happens in your body as you remember. Does your chest tighten? Does your stomach clench? Do your shoulders tense? And we hold a lot of tension in our jaw. Maybe you're clamping down on your teeth. Simply observe. Now softly say inside, even here, I do not abandon myself. Let those words land. Even here, I stay. So when we notice what's going on in our body, it begins to change, it begins to soften. We don't have to try to stop the tension or pressure or whatever we're feeling. We're just observing it. Take a slow breath in and a long breath out. Imagine yourself sitting beside the version of you that felt discouraged, not judging, not fixing, just sitting next to yourself. Notice how that feels in your body. Now gently say, I am still worthy of my own support. I am still worthy of my own support. Now imagine the week ahead. Do not see details, just sense it. Notice if there's tension about tomorrow, Monday. You can place one hand gently on your heart if that feels comfortable. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. And say, this week I will not abandon myself. I will not abandon myself. I won't give up on myself. I will not give up on myself. I will speak kindly to myself. I will speak kindly to myself. I will rest when I need to. I will rest when I need to. Feel your body, your spine lengthening. Feel your chest softening. Feel your breath steady here in the silence. Now think of one good thing that you appreciate or love about yourself. Notice how that feels. Doesn't have to be a big thing, just a small thing, something about yourself that you appreciate. Now let that image of that part that you appreciate about yourself and just notice the feeling. How does that feel in your body? Now you have the power to radiate that, make that feeling bigger. Send that good feeling throughout your body. Send that good feeling to every cell in your body. And you may not be able to say, I love myself, but say, I appreciate myself. I appreciate myself. I love myself. Excellent. And when you're ready, take a few more slow, deep breaths and wiggle your fingers slightly and gently roll your shoulders. And if your eyes were closed, gently open your eyes. Welcome back. So I'd like to ask you to share if there is any part that resonated with you. What part resonated? What felt good? So it's our practice is about being aware and awake to the part of ourselves that we abandon ourselves. We have an idea for something and then we decide, let me do something else. That's abandoning, you know, because we don't have the confidence in ourselves. But when we notice this, we tune in, it becomes a habit. And the habits become the way we live our life because we tune into what are these thoughts. And again, we like Louise Hay said, we can't clean the house if we don't see the dirt. And those thoughts, those are the thoughts, the the conscious mind, the ego mind, is just trying to protect ourselves. So it's telling you things like, "Oh, you're not good enough," and because it doesn't want to fail, right? It thinks you're gonna fail. But when we are aware of those thoughts, what happens is that we can let them go. We can come up with another affirmation, and it's a good thing to do is to write down the feelings you have that are not supportive of yourself, and then find an affirmation that really connects with you. And I would suggest you write them down and find the affirmation and record the positive affirmation. And the way you do this is to get settled, taking some deep breaths and just resting in deep breaths. And so that you feel good. You don't want to record something when you're out of center, so you want to just slowly breathing in and breathing out and relaxing your body. And then record them on your phone. It's great. There are affirmations all over, the net, and they're, especially apps for affirmations, but they're not your voice. When I found out, when I started putting my affirmations, reading affirmations, things changed for me financially, relationships, whatever, because it was my voice. And when I recorded it with feeling. I felt good about it. So do it when you feel good, you know, when you feel positive about yourself. And then what happens is that you begin to really feel that affirmation. It's not just words because it's all about feeling. A lot of times we talked about, and you hear motivational speakers talking about visualize, visualize. Well, it's more than that. It's about the feeling because that's what resonates with your whole body and it's becoming a high vibration. And then things come to you, people come to you when you're on that high vibration. Thank you for the heart skies. So when you are on this high vibration, you attract what you want in your life. So that's why when you're doing your affirmations, you begin to feel it. I play them on my car, play it on, keep them on my phone and get up in the morning and just start tapping into it. It just feels so good, right? It feels so good because you have that power. You are a powerful being. Again, your mind may say, "Oh, well, someone else is better than you." No, that's not the truth. And you can say, "Thank you for sharing mine. Sit down." Or delete. Some people say delete or uncreate. Delete or uncreate when you have a thought that comes up, but you have to pay attention. And then it becomes a habit for you. It becomes a way you live your life and you are in control. It's not the mind. People are saying, oh, the mind is spinning, 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 constantly, and they want to stop it. You can't stop 60,000 thoughts we have a day. You can't, but you can get a master over them. You can notice, oh, okay, this is the thought. And then you can, sometimes those thoughts come up and you can just laugh at them. Many of the thoughts we have are the same thoughts we had the day before, or they come from other people, especially the news we're hearing and social media. And they're not your thoughts, but you don't know that until you tune in. So the way to do it is when you're feeling depressed or feeling down or feeling sad or whatever it's feeling, tune into what are the thoughts. And then when you tune into the thoughts, they begin to change. It's like a sky. You are awareness, the sky. And those thoughts are like clouds passing by. They're passing by and they leave on their own. You don't have to make the thoughts go away. And you find your body just releases the emotion. Remember talking about energy, motion, emotion. And that leaves too, because that's just trapped energy. The thoughts we keep holding on to becomes emotions in our body, but we can let them go. And so when we have these thoughts and these memories that come up, that's a blessing. We have some thoughts that come up. It wants to leave on its own. It's stuff that we pushed down for years. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. It becomes a way of life. Spiritual masters throughout the centuries, they wanted to feel the negative feeling because it gave them an opportunity to release it. Some things we're not realizing we're holding on to in our body. Like I was telling you about my experience with CBS. When I try a new experience, when I'm working on my business, some old thoughts come up and I said, "Oh, that's kind of like how I felt back then," but I'm not aware. I wasn't aware of them because they were pushed down, but when they came up, I can release them. That's it. And I thought, "Oh, this is the same thing I felt when I was working at the networks, working with celebrities who were just so demanding and and sad sometimes, just really having to as being only Black person, like I said, I had to learn how to deal with other people because I was trying to get them to do publicity. And they didn't want to do publicity, they just wanted to act, but without publicity, who knew they were on TV? Who know they were on these different shows? So I had to learn to love myself and get that confidence. I couldn't get it from somebody else outside. They couldn't tell me how to feel confident, but affirmations helped me. you know, the meditation by being just quiet and tuning into my thoughts and then letting them go. So if you have any comments or questions, please share. And I appreciate each and every one of you who are here on the live. And this will be recorded. It'll be on the live on my channel. So if you're watching the recording, I appreciate you too. So, my loves, make this a beautiful, wonderful week. You are whole, perfect, and complete. You are powerful, and I love you. So, take care, everybody. Have a good evening. Thanks for the hearts, my loves.